5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. It's the Romello Marcellous Show. The fly uncle you always wish you had.
Bring 'em out.
Here to give you every aspect of game from a real player's perspective. It's the biggest boss from business, entertainment, love, and life.
Had to find my inner power.
To fashion, etiquette, and current events.
Major show alert.
All to enhance the happiness already inside you.
Today is about the power of you.
Check it out.
You're now rocking with the best.
Here I am, goddammit. Here I am. Once again, good morning. Good morning to all those that are here. All those that are here are welcome. You are already basking in your blessing. Right out the gate, man. Or people, excuse me. I have an issue. I have an issue with a teacher. Those that we entrust our children with. There's allegations of one teacher who actually made their child or made a child in their class clean a toilet or unclog a toilet with their hands. Where's the parent on that one? I wonder what they're doing or how they're feeling about that. Are they going to keep it real, or is keeping it real going to go wrong for them? And, at this point, the teacher is on an administrative leave. Wow. Allegations against a child and we're just subject to an administrative leave. I think that when those things do occur, I think that it should be an immediate point of process. Any teacher that would be alleged to do that kind of abuse to a child should most definitely be dealt with swiftly. Once again, a teacher made a child clean or unclog a toilet with their bare hands. I'm trying to understand. I mean, is this a fraternity or a school? It's a school age child at that. The child was 5 years old. A 5-year-old student. How do you that's a baby? You made a baby go and clean or unclog a toilet with their hands, with their bare hands. The school is Crystal Hill Elementary it's Little Rock, Arkansas. North Little Rock, Arkansas. Yeah, the teacher's been placed on administrative leave. Wow. I truly Sede Beauty Supply said I would be in jail. Yeah, I would be in jail too. I mean, wow. I mean, listen to the county, the Pulaski County Special School District. Okay. Special School District in Pulaski County. That sounds racist enough in what was supposedly the most racist state in this country for a long time, in Arkansas. You put a 5-year-old's hands or make the 5-year-old unclog a toilet with their hands. The boy's mother, Ashley Murray is her name, said Tuesday that her son told her that his teacher at Crystal Hill Elementary made him clean out a toilet with his hands because he had used too much toilet paper. Wow. Well, I've been up to the school, man, behind my kids. Because it's just some shit that ain't going to fly when it comes down to them and their beings. And that would be one. I would get the call that, yeah, my teacher or my kid has done something to the teacher because they sought to do something to them like that. And I would say, well, what did the teacher do? It's sad that people do these kind of things. I hope she's dealt with swiftly. The information is limited because the child is a minor. I just want to touch base with you on that and put that in there. Keep vigilance. Be ever vigilant over your children as they're going in and out of places, schools, daycares, churches, wherever they go, and they're out of your sight and someone else's care. Always keep the lines of communication open with them, allowing them to be able to come to you and tell you anything. Don't ever put them in a position where they don't want to talk to you. That gives the other individuals power to say, hey, shh, it's our secret. Shout out to Sway in the room. Hey, Cookie Mayo. Jabori Rigami's in the room. Good morning, good morning. Life of Lucy's in the room. Welcome, welcome all. That is as much entertainment as I can get into this morning. And that wasn't entertainment, that was just an awareness of what's going on. But what I am going to get into is a lost discipline. This morning's topic is, you know how you have people around you that you just dread to see coming when you're in your element? Let's say you're handling your business or you're working, and then you turn a corner and you're with a colleague and you're like, oh Lord, that's this motherfucker right here. And it's not that you don't love them, but you know that they lack certain things about them. So we're going to get into that today. The topic of the day for me is tact and decorum. It's a lost discipline. Tact and decorum, a lost discipline. Okay. How do I pin this? Okay, let me pin that. Lost disciplines, decorum. Yeah, like I was saying, how many times have you been out and you could be at work, middle of the day having lunch, and you see somebody you grew up with, and this may be somebody you ran with, they're very tight, and they address you by that nickname or by that pet name. Oh, there's Buck or whatever right there, and they run you down in that manner. Hey, and then they'll say, well, you remember we used to hoe and or rob or whatever it was you do, or get drunk over on whatever. They just immediately go into their spiel with you, about you, in reference to you, in the presence of other individuals that don't know you. And I say that because we all wear different faces in different places. Not to say that governs our integrity, but it's just befitting that when we go to work, we can't be who we are at home. No one's professional 100% of the time. And then, you know, because these are people you work with, you don't want them to know all your business anyway. But then here, we can go further. Look at the state of the world today. Everybody's moving around, even on these platforms, with no filter. No filter at all. And the more ratchet and wild it seems like, the more we're marketed and pushed to that realm where we're constantly losing our children. Good morning, Stan. Good morning, Stan's in the room, y'all. Good morning, Sway. Hey, yeah, we're being pushed more to where we don't discipline our children, and our children don't have tact or any filter with what they're doing, which is a bad thing. When we were children, we were taught we don't speak when grown folks are talking, and we actually governed ourselves differently in public. You know, we were taught to be reserved, taught to be observant. Well-mannered, yes sir, no ma'am. It seems that those qualities have gone out of the window, especially with our young black men, because they're lacking that rites of passage connection of a man in the majority of the homes. I'm going to go somewhere this morning, and I may offend some people, but in good decorum and tact, I don't care. I'm saying this in love to you guys. Women, I'm calling you women, single mothers that have sons. You cannot teach your sons to be men. You cannot teach your sons to be men. It is proof, it is fact, it is actual. You're speaking to a man. When we create our pubescent years from 12 on, we're looking for the man that we are seeking to become. You, at that point, you can't teach us anything. It is very important to get a strong, confident man in your son's life. If you're not cool with your baby's father for whatever the fucking reason, if he has an ounce of worth in him, don't deny him. Let him see that fuck up. At least he can learn what he's not going to be or shouldn't be to him. And then find a positive role model. I don't give a shit if it's the postman, if it's the person who works on your car, anything. It doesn't have to be a situation where somebody always trying to knock you down to be an influence on your son. But it just gives him an opportunity to grow and think. He needs regiment. He needs order. He needs discipline. Now, what you can teach him is etiquette and understanding what it is. And I'll say this to you, and retrospectively, what you give your sons, women, when you don't put a man in place, you give him bitch tendencies. And I hope you haven't taken offense to that. A man, a real man, does not wear his emotions on his sleeve. That means he's a thinker and he's an executor because he's a hunter. He's impulsive by nature. The maternal instinct is yours. He need not grasp that. Understand that. So, ladies, women, please find a positive role model for your son. Someone who's strong, hardworking, business-oriented if you can find one. If not, hey man, put it this way. It has to happen for him to really, truly blossom into the fullness of who he is. Good morning, Mia's in the room. Good morning. Good morning. Understand this. The crucial years for a young man is 12 to 17. By the time he turns 18, he's already made his mind up. He's either going to be right or he's going to be, fuck it. I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. Mia said, I must be blessed beyond blessed. My 15-year-old son does not have bitch tendencies. Okay? We all say that about our own. But who am I to judge? I'm just stating facts that all young men need men before them. Prime example, I'll give you an example of how certain cultures do. In the Jewish communities, whether it's the mother or the women, let's say if you have a daughter, the daughter's involved in the father's upbringing and rearing until she reaches the age of womanhood, which is 13. Then she has the bar mitzvah. At that point, the father is no longer involved in her rearing. It's the mother who's raising her from that point to be that woman, and vice versa. The mother is involved with the son because she is the first teacher, but teaching him how to love the world, the affections, the subtleties of etiquette and intimacy of himself, and being in proper etiquette and line. But when he turns 13, it is the men in that community who raise that son. He also receives a dowry or an investment in his future. So when you say that he is no longer a child at 13, your sons are no longer children at 13. They're able to create life. So they're going through things, as a man who is able to produce life. How do I take care of it? What do I do? Where do I go? But see, we have these societal distractions where there is this lack of structure. I jump on my youngest son now. Games all day when he's not doing something. Hey man, get up off that game. We need to do X, Y, Z. There's other things you could do. You need to structure when you can invest that kind of time into just some fun. And I'm teaching him to work hard now so he didn't have to work hard later, but to work smart, to do his business, to handle his business. And discipline is everything. Discipline is the foundation of all things. It governs focus. And to understand that, you cannot despair with that. I mean, regardless of what your structure or your setup is with your relationship with your kid's dad, if you're not with him, or your husband or ex-husband or estranged, look beyond them. If the kid has a grandfather or uncle or a cousin, he needs to be around that. He needs to see that. Mia said, oh, I'm going to be honest. Although I agree that young men should have a male role model. Every man, young black man needs a role model. And I'm saying this because we are failing them. But yet and still we condemn them because they're not there. If you don't have a plan, you've already planned to fail. Plan to give your children, boy or girl, male or female, all the tools they need to succeed. We as young black men have been forgotten. We're being forgotten. We're being wiped out. It is a shame how society uses divisive measures to get us to turn on ourselves and to do their bidding for them. Prime example, and I'm not going to stay off the topic just a second. I'm just a segue to something. Do you know when people talk about getting rid of the Confederate statues and monuments and the flags and, oh, it's offensive and it's this and it's that? How many people have been on the show and stated, hey, oh, you heard me say things like benign neglect and so on and so forth. When you say benign neglect, it means that there's no name. To stay on tact, we need each other to fill in a lot of the blanks. I'm not willing to do somebody else's dirty work. I have children that I need to continue to teach them about where they've come from, where I come from, where we come from. So for us to get on bandwagons like, oh, let's take this Confederate flag down or this Confederate statue down, is basically saying, well, in the next generation, it becomes benign neglect. Because even now, they're rarely teaching about our history in these schools. And now you have states that will give you that little checkbox to opt out. So if we start talking about the Civil War or slavery and that kind of thing in another couple of years, it'll be non-existent. It'll be a moot point because we would have done the whitewashing for them. And we're also doing it within our family, which goes back to the buck breaking. When we keep our sons out of the fight, we don't give them the opportunity to be responsible in all aspects of their home, with their families, with their woman. Women, Lord, right on point. Woman, you mother, are the first woman he is in line to take care of. Teach him to take care of you. Your children are your best investment for long-term retirement. They're going to give you your best return. They can't give you anything if you've not given them anything. They're going to give you some resentment. Ramia said parents are too often friends with their children, and we are giving them examples of discipline and how they conduct themselves as adults. Wow. Well, let me say this. From my oldest to the youngest, they know I'm not their friend. I'm dad. That's it. Don't do as I do what I say. That's it. So, yeah. Or not giving them examples. Okay. Hey, Ramia, welcome to the room. Welcome, welcome. VA braid designers join the room. Tomorrow, 789 VD Sort. He's joined the room. If you have any small businesses, man, I'm going to get into doing this every day while we having our morning chat. Got any small businesses, man? Throw them in there. Let me bridge some gaps. Let me see you. Put those names up there. I am Love 40 just joined the room. Good morning. Good morning. If you got any small businesses, throw them up there. Let me shout you out. Let me put you up there. Let me bridge some gaps. The question of the day, if you just joined the room, or the topic of the day, is tact and decorum, a lost discipline. How do we get back to that? Even in the midst of simple introductions, it's a shame that our relations between black men and women, where as a black man, I just can't speak to you without you thinking that I want something from you. That's bad. That's bad. That's a bad impasse we've come to. We should be able to be cordial and speak to one another without actually trying to have something or obtain something from you. Think about it. You're catching the train home, right? You worked all day. You got your briefcase, your little lunch pail, and then you see young people on the subway acting like a fool. And then you're going to a suburban area, diverse area. And in most situations, usually there are not that many of us on the train. But in this particular time, there's a group of younger people on there, and they're acting up, jumping from seat to seat, noise, throwing things. How do you feel like that reflects on you? Are you a part of the community then? Are you a part of the village then? Do you interject? Or do you sit there because you don't want to end up having to defend yourself or take an ass whooping? Tact and decorum. Proper etiquette. It's a lost discipline. We've all been in our grandparents' way where we probably got popped in the mouth for speaking out of turn. Talking in church got you pinched. Not to say that those are the only disciplines, but I have to dig deep, take you back somewhere in the midst of this conversation, which we fast forward to now, where the majority of us out here, we don't have a filter about anything. Say anything, do anything at any time, without caring, because we all about what we feeling. When does that change, though? When do we become responsible again and setting the tone for those that are coming behind us? Or is it all about us? Is it we feel like we're going to just burn it out and that'll be that, then okay. When do we change it? How do we grow? Some people you just can't take anywhere. Some people you just can't take anywhere. Honestly, I've had that happen to me on a few occasions. I've been in travels, I've been somewhere and I'm in the midst of something and I see people I know and it's kind of like, oh, this motherfucker here. I hope this motherfucker don't see me. You know? We've all done it. Hood Rich Ray in the building. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Well, here's what I want to do, right? I want to hear from y'all. So I'm going to open up the phone line. Y'all can call me and talk to me about anything. But the topic of the day is tact and decorum. A lost discipline. There was a time, man, you could expect that. You could be disciplined with some class. Maybe I don't understand what I'm saying. Let me get clear about what that is. Decorum. The definition is behavior in keeping with good taste and propriety. Moving like you got some class and not some trash. Y'all can call in. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I don't want to put you on blast. I don't want to put you on the screen just yet. You might be looking ugly anyway. It ain't Friday yet. You ain't got your hair did. Your hair did. Or your hair cut. Look at me. I'm looking like a daggone Neanderthal. That's why I'm wearing this hat. So, decorum, and tact. How many times have you been in an argument in public and you just totally threw tact to the wind? Anytime you cuss Karen out in the grocery line, you throw tact to the wind. Where's the decorum? Wait for Karen to come outside and pull her aside and say what you got to say. Everybody don't got to know what you got to say. I mean, I feel that, your emotions will put you in the mindset that this is like a right now thing. It's got to happen right now because it happened right now. But it's like that dinner revenge, man. Sometimes it's served cold. You leave it unexpected when it shows up. That way they can't duck that wreck. Tact and decorum, a loss of discipline. How many people on here can say that you're raising your children the way they should go? And honestly believe that for yourself. Log on to Sede Beauty Supply. That's SEDE Beauty Supply. BEAUTY SUPPLY. That's on Instagram. Instagram.com. Any small businesses, put it in there. Put it in the box. I'm going to shout you out and put you on. Let's bridge the gap. Good morning. Shake's in the room. Good morning. Good morning. He says, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me good? Are you having a problem hearing me? Can you hear me clearly? Can you see me? You just coming in this morning. The topic of the day is tact and decorum. A lost discipline. Basically, jokers out here who have no home training. Mannerisms are off. Let me tell you what I hate. I hate people to look at people as you're the same 20 years ago. So much has happened in 20 years, man. Don't come talking to me about no shit that we did 20 years ago. Motherfucker, we talking about mortgages. We talking about ideas. We talking about feeding the hungry. We talking about putting some roofs over some people's heads. We can talk. Don't come talk to me about how we used to hang around on this spot or that spot and roll up here and there. I don't want to talk about that bullshit. Nor do I want to talk about people. I want to talk about ideas. Govern yourself better. Tact and decorum. A lost discipline. A lost discipline. Manners. Mannerisms. People have this I don't care position that they're taking with the world and everybody. Well, I'll say this. Don't come at me with that shit because your life fucked up. That's your choice. You made it that way. You know, it's on you to change it. So, with that said and done, get up from around me. Get up from around me. I got to do better because I got folks that I need to do better for coming behind me. Anybody I run into, I'm going to give them a positive word. You, your children, your grandchildren. I hope you got a positive word for mine too. But, yeah. As I said yesterday, I didn't come over here just to vent and talk. I want to hear what y'all got to say about it. Yeah, I want to hear what y'all got to say about it because it makes a difference. And maybe I'm just laying a foundation. Maybe you all have to come in and fill in these blanks. You know, everybody has had scenarios where their own people have been out of pocket with them in places, trying to get some big faces. Mm-hmm. Love Bunny just joined the room. Good morning from North Carolina. Hey, hey. The topic, if you're just joining in, is tact and decorum, a lost discipline. Layman's term, you got jokers moving out here in the world with no filter, no manners, no home training. No home training. Marcus said, yeah, the respect and principles are no more. Well, how do we get it back? Where do we start? Where do we start? A lot of times when we deal with our adults, it'll get worse before it gets better, but it's going to get better. Or do you reach beyond them? If you got grandchildren, you start there. Sometimes you have to scrap the playbook and start all over. How deep are you willing to go? How much awareness are you giving them about themselves and where they come from? We come from a line of kings and queens. We're supposed to carry ourselves accordingly. You know? Yeah. I look at a lot of things in society as a form of rebellion, from the afro to the dreads, you know. But there's still a time where you got to tuck that shit in if you need to get across the finish line. Especially if you ain't standing for nothing. You're just out here in the way. Tact and decorum. I feel embarrassed sometimes when I go out and I see people in places they ain't got no goddamn business being, moving any old kind of way. Now I don't knock people seeking better stations in life, but with that, as I stated yesterday, it takes decorum. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, how are you today?
Great.
I just had a comment on the forum. Art, the forum.
Repeat that again.
I completely agree with you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Yeah, and I just had a comment on, I agree with you what you were saying about the forum, people not having it. We don't have filters nowadays. I think social media has some play with that. I think we have lost an understanding of how to properly communicate with one another because of social media. And so when we get into certain environments, we don't understand how to read a room properly because we don't communicate. And, you know, face-to-face is more so social media or text message. It's no more voice-to-voice, face-to-face communication. That's not the norm anymore. I think it's a lot of dysfunction when we get into social settings. A lot of people are even on their phone in those settings. So it's like, when do we really get the chance to understand how to communicate or really properly read a room? to know how to behave in said environment.
So on point. Know your audience. Know with whom you're talking to. Know with whom you're around or engaging with. Marcus says she has a valid point. Yeah, know your audience. But that starts in the home. I mean, I've always been a strong advocate, even with mine. What you allow them to do in the home, they'll do in the street. So where is that going? Now, I said that I would be kind of offensive earlier, and I don't want to offend. This is where you have the masses, and I'm speaking for our community. The majority of the communities are being raised by, or young men and women are being raised by single family households, single parent households. And I know there ain't a lot of single dudes in the house. So, you know, the governing has got to be on point, especially when there's only one breadwinner in the house and they're absent 12 hours of the day. When does it get taught? When does it get dealt with? But I thank you for calling in, caller.
Thank you.
The line's open if you want to call in. 929-322-3971. Everybody on here would like to hear from you. What stands to be true? The game. Life don't change. The players do. Well, you got to prepare your players because at the end of the day, this government ain't going to take care of us when we're elderly, if we should see it. So who do we got to come see about us? Take us to the grocery store, take us walking, take us to our doctor's appointments when and if we should need them. You know, who's not going to just shove us in the corner or put us in some old screwed up home where we're getting beat by some tethers. And yeah, I said it. You know, like I said, I'm doing this for my people. For those who just want to vent. There's a lot of us out here that have no one to vent to, no one to talk to. We're seeking someone to understand us, but there is a lot of us out here who don't have anyone to vent to. Just riding around in your thoughts. This is that platform. So, put it in the comments. You can pick up the phone. You can DM me. You can even request to come in on the live itself. Let me see if I got some soldiers out here. Let me see who I got on here. Let me see. Yeah. TACT. DECORUM. Okay. I'll take it another direction. Do you think that do you think that either way? All right, let me get creative with this. Ladies, if you were sitting in a restaurant and you sent a drink over to a gentleman just because of how he carried himself, his etiquette and decorum, does that always have to be a invitation to anything beyond just a compliment? Does that? Because that can work both ways. So that's the question. Does that have to always be that thing, an invitation for anything intimate, other than just to say, hey, man, you know what? Yeah, nice suit, nice tie. Your shit is on point. And then the way you conducted yourself in regards to, let's say, your seating or any issues you may had that was noticed within the restaurant, but you dealt with them intact. No. And just a thank you. That's nice. One lady said that. No, just to thank you. Tomorrow, 789. Yeah. You can extend that gratis to someone who's actually taken the time to be respectful and appreciative. Yeah. Tact and decorum. I wouldn't say it's lost. We've just become lazy as fuck. We don't think that it's warranted. It's just like now, the way the world is set up. Where do we really go to put on our best and be on our best? Where do we really go? The majority of us work from home. We get up, throw on a t-shirt and a hat and sneakers, and that's it. But this is not just a now thing. This has been going on for years, up to now. So, okay, let me get reminiscent on y'all then, since I remember there was a time even with restaurants, with nightclubs, you couldn't come in there without hard-bottom shoes on and a tie or a jacket. The 2000s fucked that shit up royally. Tact and decorum, the lost discipline, manners. Yes, sir. No, sir. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Respecting your elders, wherever they may be. Helping your elders, wherever you may see them. Most aren't willing to do it. They moving. The speed of sound. Any small businesses out there? Come on, put them up. Let me see where y'all at today. Let's see where we at. Let's bridge some gaps, man. Let's keep our money in our community. Let's see if I can bridge some gaps, get some support going. Well, y'all can reach out to J&J Hauling Services for all y'all hauling needs. If y'all need anything, any DIY projects you got, they'll go pick up your materials for you. They'll do transfers, furniture. They'll do move-in, move-outs for you investors or you people who want to just roll out of your house, or you're moving out and you got things you want to do, whether or not it is a post-construction or construction project you're doing, commercial or residential. For all your hauling needs, reach out to J&J Hauling Services. Their number is 202-750-0304. Tact and decorum. How many people got that cousin you can't take any goddamn where? Or that aunt, that loud ass aunt. We all got one. How do we change? Where does it start? Where does the change start and begin? Well, seems we're at the end of the rope already. They just flew on by. I thank y'all for coming on, taking time out of y'all day. I feel wonderful because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me. So any ideas you have, don't let anybody diminish you. Your thoughts are great. It is a blessing and it is a favor. Execute, execute, execute. Truly believe and know The haters will come because you have an idea. They're far few in between, especially those that are worth doing. People thought Noah was crazy until it began to rain. So, as I say every day, love yourself, love on somebody. I will see you tomorrow. And all you're getting, get understanding. And get the hell off my line. Peace.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. It's the Romello Marcellous Show. The fly uncle you always wish you had.
Bring 'em out.
Here to give you every aspect of game from a real player's perspective. It's the biggest boss from business, entertainment, love, and life.
Had to find my inner power.
To fashion, etiquette, and current events.
Major show alert.
All to enhance the happiness already inside you.
Today is about the power of you.
Check it out.
You're now rocking with the best.